Hello and welcome to the MAC weather page for this Wednesday, October 26th. And we got a pretty busy weather pattern coming up here over the next 5 days with anywhere some rain and cool wind and maybe some snow and eventually some fairly substantial warm up in temperatures as we get into next week. So our headlines here, we were looking at three systems. The third one for early next week looks a little less impressive. And I think that's due to the warm front being located farther off to the north, which would be good for us. It would mean drier conditions early next week, or drier conditions early next week, and a very rapidly warming weather pattern. As far as rainfall, it should move in this morning and last through much of the night into early Thursday. And I think most areas will see a solid half to 3/4 of an inch. And some areas, again, could pick up some snow. We'll talk about that and look at some of the maps on that later on. And then the system for Friday night, early Saturday, looks like about 1/4 of an inch of precipitation, maybe up to a 1/2 inch. And here over the next day or two, look for very gusty conditions today with winds gusting to 25 to 30 miles per hour. And again, that's going to make some pretty chilly conditions out there, especially once that rain begins. If we look at the normals, our normal high is 56, the normal low is 36. And if we look at the conditions around the area yesterday, mainly low to mid 50s across the area. Clarksville, the high and the low at 54 and 31. Meanwhile, a couple of hundredths of an inch of precipitation over at London. But overall, pretty dry weather pattern yesterday, allowing for a lot of harvest operations to continue. If we look at the nation's high and low temperatures yesterday, our high was 92 at Phoenix, Arizona, and the low was 11 degrees at Mount Washington in New Hampshire. If we look at conditions around the area this morning, see temperatures mainly in the mid to upper 30s, and we're going to have rain moving in from the southwest to the northeast here as the morning progresses. I think by 10 o'clock we should see most areas across central Michigan picking up the rain. It'll move off to the east before it gets to noon. But again, looks like rain moving into much of the area, and it'll come down fairly decent at times. If we look at the low-level wind flow, you can see where the low-pressure system is, and then we got easterly component winds and southerly component. That's causing that air to pile up, lift, and produce precipitation. And again, you normally will see the heaviest bands of rain in a situation like that just to the north of the track of that low, which should move across to northern Indiana and Ohio here over the next 24 hours. If we look at the satellite view, you can see the impressive MCS complexes that develop off to our southwest, and that's producing some moderate to heavy rainfall. And again, that's one thing we're concerned about as far as the potential for snow is in when it moves into Michigan late this afternoon and tonight with the heaviest amounts of precipitation falling. During those heavy precipitation rates, we could see it switch over to snow, and if that were to happen, we could see some locally pretty heavy snowfall develop in some areas, especially those cold areas like Cadillac and Big Rapids, Tustin and Luther over to Harrison, Roscommon area. So again, we want to keep an eye on that here over the next, again, 12 to 18 hours to see if whether some of that snowfall does develop. Right now, the best bet would be it would be rain with some mixed snow, but one of these situations you can't ignore. And if we look at the weather map for this morning, you see that low pressure system across west-southwest Iowa. Again, it's going to track just off to the south of the state. That's going to help pull northeasterly cool and drier air into the system, which will allow evaporative cooling. Another reason why we suspect there could be some snow across the central and northern portions of lower Michigan. And by tomorrow, that low moves over to north-central Ohio, and again, pulling cold air behind it. So today temperatures are only going to be in the 40s, so it's going to be a very chilly day. And when the precipitation falls, it may be in the low 40s. And again, in some areas late in the afternoon tonight, we have to watch for some of that possible mixture of snow. And then our next low pressure system that'll help bring some rain into the area Friday night and Saturday. So right now, Friday night football games look like it'll be on the chilly side with showers. Again, that looks like about 1/4 of an inch, maybe a 1/2 inch altogether. But once we get through this system, I think we're going to see more modified Pacific air. Eventually, we're going to see a south and southwest flow develop for later next week, and that's going to bring some really warm temperatures. We may be up around 70 again by Tuesday or Wednesday of next week. So improving conditions are coming, but we got to get past these next few days. As far as precipitation here, this is from the INSEP. You can see many of the areas from around Houghton Lake, Roscommon area down to about St. John's or Lansing area should have a good shot, I think, at getting close to an inch of rain here, most of it coming here over the next 3 days. If we look at the precipitation forecast, this was from yesterday, showing that the models have tried to dry out on the Friday night system into the second system and then the third system for early next week. You can see the brand new outlook here over the next 7 days. Still has a pretty appreciable amount of precipitation across much of Michigan, but certainly less than what the models looked like just 24 hours ago. But still, quite a bit of rainfall expected here over the next few days. And if we look at the map here, this is the Canadian forecast here showing a pretty good area across central Michigan that could see some snow. Mount Pleasant, according to the Canadian, could pick up 5 inches, 6 inches at Big Rapids. Alma picking up 3 inches of snow. And it has some support with the European model showing anywhere between 5 to 10 inches of snow, kind of in the same area, maybe just a little bit more off-centered, a little bit to the north and east, but would include many portions of the northern portions of the Breckenridge, Middleton, Newaygo coverage area, all the way up to Cadillac. So again, we got to watch this. Even the U.S. model has some of this area picking up in between 1 to 2 or 1 to 3 inches of snow. So all the models do show some snow on it. The forecast from the NOAA really, for our area, doesn't really have much in the way, just maybe a mix of snow. But again, this is something we're going to want to watch: evaporative cooling and heavy precipitation rates, because if that happens, we could see some areas pick up some decent snow. Again, the best bet would be mostly rain though, but don't be shocked if you wake up and tomorrow and say, well, where did this snow come from? If we look at the, well, that's all we got for today. Thanks for stopping by and have yourself a great day, and 73s to all.